Hello everyone, I am here from my farm. It's a different environment, I know, but I figured it works a lot with what we're going to talk about today. We're in the woods, it's dark, it's mysterious, and we're going to talk about the Agatha Christie mystery. So we have talked about Agatha Christie in class, but I'm going to tell you a really interesting story today, the day that Agatha Christie disappeared. But let's go back for a second and talk about who Agatha was. Well, actually, her name was pretty long. Her actual name was Agatha Marie Clarissa Christie Lady Malowan. Dame and Lady are awards given by the Queen of England as recognition for life's work on something really important. For example, literature. Our dear Agatha was one of the most prolific mystery authors that the world has seen. She actually has been awarded with the Guinness World Records for being the best-selling fiction writer of all time. She has even sold over 2 billion of her copies all over the world. But who was Agatha? Well, actually, her name was Agatha Miller, and she was born on the 15th of September in 1890 to a very wealthy family in the English countryside. Agatha lived a pretty sheltered life when she was young. She was homeschooled by her mother. This means that it was her mom who was in charge of her education at home. She did not go to school. She actually wanted to write all of her life, and when she started, she wasn't very successful. But she kept on writing and she kept on persevering until one day she got it. She was rejected around 6 times before making it big. But as she was struggling as a writer, she decided to marry this colonel she met, Colonel Archie Christie, and she took his last name. Both Colonel Archie and Agatha served in World War I, him in battle and she as a nurse. And it was because of this and traveling all around the world that she started to become very acquainted with anything police and army related and anything about mystery. So fast forward to the 1920s, the roaring 20s, the beautiful, roaring 20s. She started writing one of her most known novels called The Mysterious Affair of Styles. And this book included for the first time one of the most important detectives in literary history, Hercule Poirot. And FYI, Hercule Poirot appeared 25 times in 25 different novels or texts done by Christie. Years passed and her relationship with Archie was not doing well. It hit rock bottom and she was going through a very tumultuous time in her life. And then that led to her disappearance. But I don't want to get there right now because we still have to talk a little bit about her life. 10 years after marrying Archie, she divorced him, and later in 1930, she married again. She actually married an archaeologist called Max Mallowan, and they traveled together to several countries. This also helped her get inspired for more of her novels. Actually, one of the biggest inspirations served for one of the most important books in the mystery genre called Murder on the Orient Express. And this same year that she published Murder on the Orient Express, she also introduced her second most known detective, who actually isn't really a detective, but that's a story for another time. And her name was Miss Jane Marple, a little old lady who always seemed to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and ended up solving all of the murders and mysteries in Agatha's novels. Now that we know about this legendary author, let's get back to this mysterious disappearance, okay? So let's go back to 1926. So in 1926, as we know, Agatha was still married to Archie Christie. And their marriage, as I said before, was not going well. He was having multiple affairs, and on top of that, her mom was very sick, and they were very close. And one day, Agatha Christie's mom died. And not only that, but she discovered about her husband's adventures with other women. On December 3rd, Agatha and Archie had a really bad fight. Archie decided to leave their house and Agatha stayed home with their daughter. But in the morning, they realized their daughter was alone in the house and Agatha was nowhere to be found. They didn't know anything about her for 11 days. How do we know that she went missing? Her car was found in the middle of nowhere on a road, just wrecked, and the only thing that they were able to get from that car was an expired driver's license and some clothes. And the driver's license belonged to Miss Christie. So the police were called, detectives were called, they started searching everywhere, and suddenly everyone started to wonder, did the mystery author has just become a mystery herself? What happened to Agatha? Did she have an accident? Was she kidnapped? Was she murdered? Did she die there? Did she escape? Nobody knew. And for 11 days, no one knew her whereabouts. People started getting very, very worried. And they started thinking that Archie, her husband, had something to do with it. Because, they were fighting. He had mistresses. She was very famous. You never know. Over 1,000 police officers and more than 1,500 volunteers went all around the English countryside to look for Agatha. And someone really important actually helped in this search. Writer Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Yes, that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of the most important detective and literary history, Sherlock Holmes. They invited him to be part of this search because, he wrote mysteries and this was a mystery. Unfortunately, he wasn't of much help. But later on, Christie was discovered in a hotel. But you know why they didn't know it was her? Because she had registered under his husband's mistress's name, Savage. And it was actually one of the musicians at the hotel who looked at her and went like, "Aren't you Agatha Christie? People are looking for you." So she had to say, "Yeah, it's me, I'm here." So everyone started wondering what had happened. And then she claimed she didn't know, that she had no memory of what had happened. And then she never talked about that event ever again. She divorced Archie, married Mr. Mallowan, had an amazing life, lived a very long time, and was very famous. But whenever reporters asked her about the incident, she would never answer. So there are many theories regarding this event. Why did she decide to disappear? Was she forced to disappear? Do you think someone else was involved? Do you think that perhaps she wanted to disappear in more than just the physical way? That is what today's activity is going to be. We are going to discuss what theories you have and what you think actually happened the night that Agatha Christie disappeared.